morning, good afternoon, depending on where you are. My name is Orifunke Lawal, and I am so happy to be here. So I want to welcome you. If you're here and you can hear me, please, I want you to just celebrate yourself for being here, for putting in the energy to be here. I just want you to celebrate yourself. I just want you to be proud of yourself that I am here. I wasn't forced to be here. I wasn't dragged that you must attend. I am really here. So I want to celebrate you, and I also want you to celebrate yourself. So, the quality of our life is a combination of different investments that we make in ourselves. So usually people often think that when a person actually makes it, in quotes, in life, it's just one shout out or one collaboration or something that just hits it and then boom, they've blown. But it's not true. We'll find out that a lot of times the eventual results that we get in our lives are a combination of very, very, I would say, raindropic efforts that we make in our lives. So you can think of one event you attended there, those books you read there, one course you went there, one seminar you went there. And so all of these over time, they contribute to you and your growth. So investments are usually like, okay, in bits, here and there. And so the fact that you are here is really a big deal. It's not just a big deal to me. It's not just a big deal to LWB, but it should be a big deal to you because this is such a big deal. So permit me to officially welcome you to the Lady Who Balls International Women's Day event 2022. And then today we're going to be talking about gender equality for a sustainable future. And of course, you already know the official hashtags. The global hashtag is hashtag break the bias. And our specialized hashtag is hashtag LWBIWD22. So please, if you're going to be sharing, you can always, exit so that you can share online and share your key learning points and the insights you're going to be gaining. Once again, welcome to this place. My name is Orifunke Lawal, popularly known as OL. And this is a topic I am passionate about, super passionate about. And if you are a woman here, you know that being a woman means that you have lived a considerable amount of your life being biased against, being stereotyped against, being discriminated against at some point or the other. It's not, maybe I'm completely shielded and all of that, but it means that at some point or the other, bias against who you are simply because of your gender has taken place. It has been a normal thing. It's been a normal occurrence in your life. If you can relate, please drop a comment and let me know. So I would usually say that I grew up in an environment where I wasn't made to feel inferior based on who I was or based on my gender. Nice. I'm the first one, and for a very long time, I had 3 younger sisters. So it was when it was like some, I think 10, 11 years back, we added the final boy to the family. So what I am literally trying to say is that for a very long time, we were mostly girls in my family. So I'm the first born of 5 children, and I have 3 younger sisters and 1 younger brother. So I want to believe that because I didn't, have elder brothers or have a lot of brothers in between, there wasn't really anything like discrimination based on gender in my family, as it were. So my father was, or is, he's still alive, but at least growing up, it was the kind of person who was, I would say, was a pusher. Is the kind of person who says, Orifunke, can you see people doing really good stuff? And he calls me Funke. He says, can you see people really doing good stuff on TV? Come and see them. Look at that person doing it. Recently, I think about 2 days ago or something, he still asked me why I don't want to become a politician, because he believes that's something that I can do. So my dad did not, at no point did he ever, look at us or look at me especially as the firstborn and say, oh, there are things that you cannot do, or there are things that you should do simply because you're a woman. So my dad has always been okay, if you are as long as you are here, there are things that you can do. So growing up, we were made to turn on drag generator. I don't ever want to go through that stage again in my life, but we were made to drag generator, right? And there were times when, my dad would get us to wash his car. And in fact, if it comes to even changing tires, he will call you to stand there and look at it. I don't think I ever plan to change tires in my life, but if he ever gets to that point, I know that I won't be completely clueless. Now, what am I trying to say? I'm trying to say that I grew up in a family or familial environment. Yes, I grew up in a familial or family-focused environment where there was no focus on my gender or, oh, she's a girl, there are things she cannot do, or there are things that she's not wired for simply because she's a woman. And so because of that, as I grew, I was more open to a lot of stuff that my gender contemporaries weren't open to, because I was really bold. I already believed in myself at such a young age and started dreaming big from when I was a kid. So it wasn't a problem for me. And when I grew up, I would say when I grew up and then I started to enter the world, I began to see that the world was truly unequal. And I began to see certain occurrences, certain happenings. Sometimes it doesn't just hit you in the face, it starts to hit you bit by bit by bit by bit. Like when some people believe that you cannot live simply because you're a girl, or some people believe that, oh, if there's a guy in the hall or in the room, it should speak first before you're a girl. I didn't learn that in the family. I learned it outside of the family. And that's the really crazy thing about gender inequality. It hits you, it finds you anywhere. Irrespective of the kind of background that you had, it finds you. Can we relate? So some of us grew up in the kind of background I grew up in. Some of us grew up in families where, in fact, from where you were maybe like 4, 5, 6 years old, you began to see that there was a difference between how they treated you and how they treated your brother. There was always this focus on you, like, okay, because you're a woman, don't do this, don't go there, don't do that. And because he's a man, he's giving allowances to be able to do certain things, be free, go around the world. And then you are just being prepped and prepared and prepped, whatever it is, to go to your husband's house. So it's like, it's a transfer or a release clause for those of us who follow football. No, I don't follow football, but those of you who follow football, you understand when they say a release clause has been activated. So it's like they are coming to pay your bride price, and you're moving from father's house to husband's house. So gender inequality hits you everywhere. It affects you everywhere. And so whenever people start to say that, oh, God did not create men and women equal, and they have really, really religious biases, permit me to say that, to support their stances, it really shows that you don't understand the gravity of what we are trying to talk about here, right? You find out that gender equality, or the conversation of attaining gender equality, is beyond, I want to be like a man. It's actually beyond that. So when people streamline conversations like this to simply the man is the head of the woman, and something that is primarily a religious conversation, which I may not be able to touch on, it just scatters the whole thing. It scatters the whole thing. Dara mentioned earlier that it would take us many years to actually attain gender equality. And yes, according to research, it should take us about, let me say, at least 90 years to attain gender equality across the world. But that isn't across the world. In developed areas like the United States of America, it could take as long as 90 years. Now look at the dynamics of the United States of America and look at the dynamics of a third world country like Nigeria. I want you to sit into your mind. I want you to sit into your head. So if people are telling you that, oh, in developed countries, it should take them up to 100 years to attain gender equality, it means that we are likely going to have to wait a longer while, and maybe Jesus will even come. For those of you who believe in Jesus, and we will still be, fighting, because it's a long-term thing. It's not short-term. So the longer we try to fight, the longer or the harder it is that we try to fight, the longer it will take for us. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? The longer it will take for us, because now those people have systems, they have structures, but they're still facing gender equality. But yeah, we are like, my strength is in, they know I am. I'm not trying to compete. We're not trying to compete. Nobody's even saying you're trying to compete. But I'm trying to bring you into the awareness of the seriousness of the issues facing you as a woman, number one, and facing you as a Black woman. So you would read Good Feminism. That's a book I could recommend. I can't even remember the author. I don't really remember authors, but go and find Good Feminism. And you find out that as a woman, there are a lot of issues, or there are a lot of biases and stereotypes against you as a person. Do you understand? And a Black woman, oh Lord, it is worse. Then you're not just a Black woman. You now come from a place like Nigeria that is reading the stereotypes on global levels. So it's like your fight is not something, it's not a walk in the park that I just you really just be chilling and saying, I'm just going to fight. No, it's a fight. And that's why we had to come here and discuss this issue, breaking the bias that stands against you as a woman, thank you very much, Flourish, Good Feminism by Mickey Kendall, breaking the biases, breaking the stereotypes that exist against you as a Black woman, and breaking the discriminations that exist against you as a Nigerian or as an African Black woman or a woman of African descent, basically. So I want to share a number of things that, because these are conversations we're going to be having on an ongoing basis, I'm going to be sharing a number of things that I believe are going to guide us as we try to break the bias, as we do our own best. As I am a person, I'm going to do my best, and I expect that you as a person will also do your best. Learning with boys, so we're going to do our best as much as we can over the next 5 years, over the next 10 years, and God willing, over the next 100 years. Yeah, I was excited about that. So when we talk about breaking the bias, the first thing I want to mention is retreating and introspecting. So that's an R. I'm going to use the acronym so that it's easier for you to remember. So retreating and introspecting. So before you are able to break a bias, you need to step back, first of all, and look at the biases that exist because you have created them for yourself. So as people, as women, we have different backgrounds. So it means that the kind of upbringing that I have had, the kind of educational systems that I have been to, the kind of organizations that I have, been a part of or worked with, strongly determine the kind of environment that I create for myself. And it strongly determines how I actually even see myself, the kind of things that I'm going to be doing. So there is a particular level of thinking that I expect LWBIWD members to have on a very basic skill. LWB members here, can you relate with me? So if somebody in LWBIWD is thinking a certain way, I'm going to be like, let's please check out. Maybe they already removed that like 2-3 years ago. Because this kind of thinking, it's discordant with the kind of values that we preach. Can you relate with that? So there's a system, there's an expectation that you would have based on the associations that you have forged in a community. You get, so it's right when you see a person think a certain way, you can just point to the kind of places they grew up in, the kind of parents they had, the kind of schools they went to, the kind of friends that they had, are they taking courses, the kind of books as well, and the kind of movies that they've watched. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? So we are usually, like I mentioned earlier, a combination of a lot of several investments that we do not necessarily consider as investments for our lives. So you as a person are an institution. You're an institution where there's so much that has gone into you. There's from your family, your father, your mother, the kind of places that they grew up in, the kind of education that they had, it shows in your life. The kind of school that it shows in your life. Do you understand? So because of what we've experienced, our combined experiences over time, what that means is that all of us at one level or the other have certain specific biases that if you do not identify or understand could stand as oppositions for you. Let me know if you're following. They could stand as oppositions for you. So it means that I want to pay attention to how I see things based on what I have experienced. For instance, I don't like numbers, right? I don't like numbers. I know I cannot do with numbers. So I'm actually getting myself to like numbers, but I'm not a numbers kind of person. So when you see analytics and all of that, no, it's a trained learning for me. I don't like numbers, but because I don't like numbers, there are certain fields, male-dominated fields that I may not attempt. I won't even follow the line. So I don't like numbers. And then because there are certain numbers, because I don't like numbers, there are certain fields that I may not be able to even try to get into. Not because women are not welcome there, but because I have a bias already in my mind. I don't like numbers, so look at it as a bar, right? This is where I am. There's the forward moving aspect and then there's the backward looking aspect. So number one, there's a girl named Funke and she doesn't like mathematics or she doesn't like numbers. She doesn't like analytics. Now look at it forward. There are fields where she doesn't want to try out, not because women are not welcome there, but because she doesn't like numbers. Now, Orifunke is supposed to sit down and try to retreat and find out exactly what is going wrong and why she doesn't like numbers. So you find out that, okay, so at some point in time when she was about, let's say 6 years old, she struggled with mathematics and then she was shamed in class because that's actually a true story now. And then she was shamed in class because she failed. I think I had like 2/10 in mathematics because I didn't grow up in mathematics school. So I had like maybe 2/10 or 1/10. And then the teacher got me to stand on the table, on the desk in front of the whole class. And then he got them to start to sing for me and saying, oh Lord, you're not people in the building, you can relate. So they started to sing, oh Lord, Rabata, oh George. And then I was on that desk, I was crying. I think I was about 5 or 6 years old, and I was crying. So till I left primary school, secondary school, but till I got into the university, if I hear anything or see anything that looks like their numbers, it's maths, it's statistics, I am running away because every single time it brought memories that I was a failure based on how I was treated because I failed a list of songs. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? So I'm trying to explain the backward-looking aspect and then the forward-looking aspect, and you'll find out that when you retreat, there are a lot of biases that you've grown in your mind, in your soul, that you do not know. But when you face a situation where you're supposed to show up, you just find out that you're like, it's not just something I like. No, it's just a bias that you've created in your heart or in your mind, right? So it's important to retreat. You need a high level of self-awareness to start to break the bias that first exists in your mind. And when you're trying to break biases, when you introspect, you find that a lot of times you could be the architect of your own problems. I'm not saying there are no societal issues. I'm not saying there are no issues caused by leadership or politics or people or even religion. I know all of these things exist, but a lot of times, think about it, you are the architect of your own problems. Sometimes people self-sabotage. Don't worry, if you are in that if you're in those shoes, I can relate. I'm not judging you, I'm not judging us. But sometimes people self-sabotage. So it means that when you're supposed to apply for a role, for instance, you don't apply for it, or you procrastinate till it closes. You are in those shows, please let me know. You procrastinate till it closes. When there is a volunteer or a leadership position that opens somewhere, you are going to retreat. You don't want to, you're like, I don't want to fail. I don't want it to look like maybe I know more than I do. So it even happens. Because I like to see these things. How these things relate in very, very, very detailed, these small cases. And I can tell you, it's not often considered, but it even happens in WhatsApp groups, right? When people don't want to talk, not because they do not even know. It's a different case if you don't know. But people don't want to speak up. People don't want to contribute simply because they don't want to be seen. They are shy. So do you know the kind of energy that goes into you being shy to show up in a WhatsApp group? If you're being shy to show up in a WhatsApp group, I can tell you categorically that you are likely going to be shy showing up in real life. Does anybody understand what I'm trying to say? Does this make any sense at all? Like, you're shy. You're like, if they ask a question or you're supposed to give your own knowledge in a WhatsApp group or a Telegram group. I'm just, using WhatsApp because it's a very, very usually overlooked case. But you're like, I'm shy. I don't want people to think that I am this or I am that. I don't want people to think that I am dumb. I don't want people to think. But if you cannot speak up on a WhatsApp group, it means that if you were in a meeting at work, you struggle to speak up. And when you struggle to speak up, it means that a lot of opportunities are going to be passing over you. Because a lot of times, the opportunities go to the most visible and the most outspoken. So it means that you'll be at work and then somebody who is likely doing less than you do is getting promoted or is getting more responsibilities, and then you're going to be saying that they're like that because I'm a woman. That's how they do. It is their bias. But you're not seeing all the little things that contribute to you being there. Do you know? So it's something I have to learn. So if I'm at an event and they say, come and say something, who wants to speak something? I raise my hand. It's a system of unlearning, right? So I just wanted to digress a bit. And so it's so important for you to have a high level of self-awareness, to spend time daily or weekly introspecting and start, beginning to realize that, okay, so maybe this field is not like this field is not for me. Maybe I have just been trained into thinking that, because I am a woman, then this is not exactly where I should be. Or maybe I've just been told that because I'm a woman, there's a certain way I need to look. There's a certain way I need to dress. There's a certain way I need to talk. There's a certain way I need to react to people. There are people who can't do stuff because they've just been so groomed and trained into feeling like, oh, okay, someone just said, show me what you want to say when you raise your hand. And I'm going to share something really interesting with you. Do you know that, or have you noticed that a lot of the times when women raise their hand to speak in meetings or speak at meetings, they say things that are wise? Yes, have you noticed? Because in the first place, it takes a lot of guts to even raise your hand. So by the time you see somebody who raises their hand, they've thought about it left, right. What I want to say, does it make sense? Will they talk? How does it position me? They have thought about it. So a lot of times when you see women actually speak, they I'm not trying to put guys down, but a lot of the people are saying nonsense in meetings. audaciously are usually men. Usually, because it's the boldness. You're not going to kill him. You're not going to fire him. You're not going to shoot him. So he will say what he wants to say. But as a woman, you're considering a lot of things. If I say this thing, what if somebody else has already said it or is already thinking it? And so you're thinking about it a lot. So by the time you actually eventually raise your hand, oh my God, I found a very interesting statistics. Sometimes I can't quote anybody now. So let me just say I saw an interesting fact sometime last week. And then the person said that a lot of times women wait to meet about 90% of job description criteria when they're applying for jobs. But men just wait to meet like 40, 50%. So if a man looks through a job description for a new job he's trying to apply to, and then he just looks at it like, I don't know this, but I can learn on the job, and then he applies. But as a woman, you don't want to fail you and your ancestors, your family, your background, all the people, your church pastor, you don't want to fail people. So you're like, this thing, I don't know it. So even when there's stuff that you know how to do, you let it pass. So I just wanted to mention that because, all right, so you have retreating and introspecting, being able to identify the biases that you even have in your mind. So some of us, you have biases in your mind, and because of the biases that you have, it affects how you see other people, right? It affects how you relate with other women. Some people say that, I can't, women are women's worst enemy. But you're a woman. I don't know how it works, it's not, I don't know, it's not telling, something is missing, but you're a woman. And so some women themselves will not even, they don't want to work under a fellow woman. They'll prefer to work under a man because it's just a conditioning that he's a man, he's a, so you don't wonder why, even down to school politics, women don't support women. It's not a case of competence in this case. I'm talking about somebody is competent, somebody can do the work. But you're just like, so she's a woman. It's not be personal, what if she's on a period? All of these things really exist. So sometimes the biases that you have in your own mind also affect how you see other people. Are we following? All right, so the second thing I want to talk about is speaking up consistently. So I know what you support. I know where you stand based on the kind of things that you say in real life or online. I can know where you stand. And usually many people, I understand, though it's quite understandable, a lot of people shy away from conversations that have to do with gender equality. Because your person is on your WhatsApp status. So you're like, if I should talk about this, they're going to be like, maybe I'm going to be a non-submissive woman. So you don't talk about these things. You don't address issues, or you're really thinking about how other people would view you, and maybe they will think you're an aggressive woman, or they will think you're an angry feminist. But that's not the conversation for today. Let's not go there, please. Let's not go there. But it's important to be able to speak up consistently. That means that whenever you see an idea or an ideology being perpetrated around you, you need to speak about it. Right? Online or offline. Let's start with offline. If you notice that somebody says something, okay, I'm going to give you a story. I have a lot of stories. So sometime last year, I went to the market to buy stuff. And then while I was just standing, again, two ladies were passing, and then the way these vendors, where they try to touch you, and then they try to hold you, they try to call you, and all of that. So the ladies, I think they were passing, and then I think one of those vendors just started to call them names. And I can promise you where I was. The only reason I did not interfere was because it happened in such a very short time, and the girls involved were so vocal. I really liked it. I've said it, I've already punched somebody before simply because he grabbed my hand. I've punched people before. It's not a new thing to me. So they were really vocal, and I could see that they were ready to fight it. And it happened in such a short time. I don't even know this because what was I can't remember what that was. But even the guy saw that when I already stood up. It's like something was to happen. I was ready to enter that matter and not shout or not. I don't say to scatter, but I was ready to enter that matter and really speak up. So you need to learn how to speak up in your family. You need to learn how to speak up in your environment, in your school, in your classes, at work. It's important to be able to speak up. Right now, the third thing I'm going to talk about when it comes to breaking bias is empathizing with other people. So when you empathize with people, it means that the rate at which you judge them will be less. For instance, I know that people, because of the environment people come from, there are certain ways they will think. There are certain things they will do. There are certain things they will say, not because they are not smart, but because of where they've come from. So it's important to empathize with other people. Where is this person coming from? What is this person going through? What are the possible things that this person is, paying attention to or not paying attention to? And so it's important to empathize. When you empathize, for instance, with women, you won't say stuff like women get married and then they leave themselves, and then because of that, their husbands cheat on them. Do you know what it means to get married and give birth to children? To actually birth children, it's a lot of work. I don't know how women do it, but it's a lot of work. But empathy is realizing that these people are in different phases of their lives, and I just want to understand what she's going through. I just want to pay attention to what she's going through. And so it's a less judgment zone and a more understanding zone. I hope that's clear. And the final thing I want to talk about is action. Action. And everybody may not be able to start foundations or start organizations or be popular and all of that, but I can tell you that everybody can do something where they are. You can talk to somebody, you can educate somebody. We need a lot of education, so you can educate somebody. You can be a part of an organization or an initiative that gets us closer to the goal that we're trying to achieve. You can join hands on a project. You can collaborate with other people. It's important that we put, all hands on deck. And that's why I'm really excited that you're here. It's important that we put all hands on deck because the work is great. And I mentioned in my own LWBIWD22 meetup that if everybody here happened to start an organization, an NGO focused on women, it will still not be enough. So it means that we need way more hands than we currently have. So that's it. It's a long haul, it's a great work, but I believe that people like me, yes, I am super confident in myself and what I bring to the world. So I believe that with people like me, the caliber of people that we have in the Lady with Boss community, and with people like you who are here, we will be on a successful journey towards breaking the bias. Thank you so much for listening to me. And once again, welcome to the Lady with Boss International Women's Day event 2022. Thank you.